Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Tow Truck Fun. Hello.
Ahoy!
Ahoy and a half. Sure. Happy, happy last day of August.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows when we're recording this. Haha.
Time for me about to be grumpy with September weather, right?
Oh, man.
88 degrees is acceptable on August, but not. So, like how in my brain, like one day should be different. I understand that's not true, but like it's like now I'd be like, oh my god, why is this?
We hit like
actually only 88 for August is actually pretty chill. So like that's kind of after July of like 103.
Oh yeah,
this is all right.
Like,
it's not so bad.
Maybe this isn't so bad. Yeah, no, we had we had what did we have? We had like 93 this week, and I was like, that's really not fun. I'm not okay. I'm really not okay with that.
No. But, like, it's officially time for not 90 anymore. Okay, I'm over that. September. Okay, you hear me? Because all the time in Missouri, it's like September will lie to you. It's the lying month. It's like, haha, I'm fall now. I'm September, right? Like, hee hee. But it's actually, like, temperatures will go down and it'll be like, oh, yeah, like 89. 85, and then like one day it'll be like 78, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes. And then like 2 days later it's like 91. You're like, no.
Oh man. And we had
that's the worst.
The roller coaster is bad, and I don't know, but we had all that rain move through 2 days ago, and I've had nothing but awful allergies, like nonstop.
I'm gonna apologize right now for my
congested. It's been bad. And I was like, I don't like fall. I don't know, like late summer, early fall allergies are just not my time. Not my thing.
Yeah,
in the world.
It's always like, I don't know. There's always just something. You're like doing fine. Blah. Like, dang it.
Seriously.
I don't know what it is, but something just like shows up and gets you. Blam.
Oh my gosh.
Dang it, mold. Why?
Yeah, mold and all sorts of not fun stuff.
In the spring, you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing okay. Tree pollen. Blap.
And it's all
dead.
Right? Yep. Not even just some of it. All of it.
Yeah.
I'd rather do this. Oh. Yeah. How's your week been?
Well, it's okay, I guess. Like navigating the treacherous waters that are the beginning of school, right? Second week of school, so sort of just been dealing with all that, like trying to figure out what's going on, still trying to get a read on some of these children because they're very odd little things, right? Like,
sure.
Trying to do with people at school, like not telling you stuff. That's my favorite, right? Just people being like, yeah. Today, today's example of what is communication is the other sixth grade teacher. She got a call from the secretary, who wasn't in the building today, by the way, or the principal.
Oh. Cool.
They were doing something. I don't know what they're doing. Some sort of alleged training. I don't know what it's about, but she calls her at like 8 something. Sometime between 8 and 8:15 this occurred. Okay. And she said, hey, by the way, your new student is on their way up to your classroom.
Huh?
And yeah, exactly. My teacher, my fellow teacher was like, Excuse me, what? My what did you say?
Oh my goodness.
So there was a surprise with no warning, a new student today. So like again, it's like fine at the beginning of school, so it's not like that big a deal. But like okay, so if I'm doing an activity today, now this person doesn't have stuff. I gotta like drop everything and like get them things, right? I gotta do that. I gotta get them. Like I have to route my plan for X number of students to X plus 1, right? Like I have to.
Which is a difference.
Yeah, because like my activity today, I pre-made all the groups, right?
Mm.
Because yes, it's the beginning of school. That's probably a good idea for groups of more than 2. I'm making them right now.
Fair enough.
So like, it's not that big a deal to put them somewhere, but like now my plan is wrong.
Mm.
Now my things are wrong, right? So I have to try to ingratiate this new person into my classroom in the middle of something like without warning. So like now they don't have stuff. So I gotta like run down and print them a thing and like run over there because I got like, whatever. So I mean, so it was fine. Like it wasn't that big deal to me because like I had warning, but she did it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
She got a phone call and 5 minutes later there's a student in her room. Like, oh no. And they're trying to do like beginning of the year like baseline testing stuff. Right? So like at the beginning of the year you do some kind of like assessment for like a starting point. Mm. So you get where are the kids, where do they start? And then later on, you assess them again in a few months and you can go, aha, okay, here's where they are now. So have we shown any growth? How is this, but you have to have that starting benchmark, right? Uh-huh. And she was trying to do those starting benchmarks this week. And it's like, no. And so then the kid couldn't like starting benchmark because like she doesn't have an iPad or anything because she just came here today. And then so we had to, and we're not getting like classroom iPads this year because they're just like giving everybody theirs and then like I don't really understand what the plan is, but whatever. But there's not like extras, right? So had to like run around and like get her logged in on hers, the teacher one, and like get her all the stuff like.
Oh my god!
In like 10 minutes, right? So that's the.
Wow.
So again, I was okay with it, but she was very much like, surprise, kablam.
Just a wee bit stressed right now.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem is that's the second person that we've got that was a new student that was like a surprise, right? No. Another kid showed up like 3 days ago, like, hey, or Monday maybe? I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
Not that long ago. I was like, surprise! Like, there's a new kid coming. What? Like now? Normally, it's the beginning of the year. I don't know what's happening down in the land that has. I mean, there are some things I won't talk about them here, but like that has caused all this chaos. But like normal procedure is a student enrolls, or I should say, normal procedure was because I don't know what normal is currently. Normal procedure was student enrolls, right? They come to enroll. They do the thing. They get their paperwork. They go get checked out. The other school has to like release records and stuff. And then like we don't have to have those yet, but usually they're like, okay, well, we've got to process your stuff and get you in the system. So you can start like either tomorrow or the next day. Mm. Right. It seems that it's been like, oh, you got your paperwork. Just go up there right now. Like what? Again, I don't know if that's accurate because I don't know what's happening, but it's what it feels like is like, hey, surprise, here you go. So again, it's the beginning of the year, so we're all still like doing new stuff anyway, right? But it's like procedural things still. Like I did that stuff today, and we did like an activity to get ready for what we have to do tomorrow, because tomorrow is our first like experiment, right? Because we've been all talking about like the scientific method and observations and stuff. So tomorrow is like our first experiment that we're going to do. And so today was like an activity about team building and communication that was varying degrees of hilarious to watch happen. Yeah, it was pretty bizarre. But like we do that things just because I kind of get them in the mindset of like, hey, these are our expectations, blah blah blah. And then for tomorrow, so we're ready. We're thinking about working in bigger groups, all that stuff. But like, now I got to redo all the stuff because I had them in teams to do this like challenge thing, right? And so it's like, oh, okay, new person go there, blah blah blah, like, like it worked out today because like one person wasn't here, so I was just like, insert you here, boom, go, fine, like,
yeah. This is a placeholder. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So that was my fun for the day, really. The second fun of the day occurred after school, right? Because tomorrow for my experiment, I need 6 cans of soda. Right.
As one does. Yes.
As one does, right. But they have to be different brands of soda.
Okay.
Because the experiment it's not really like an experiment, it's more like a data gathering trial thing, right? We're talking about gathering data and like filling out a data sheet and all this stuff. But it's about which is the best can of soda to take with you on a float trip. Right? I probably have talked about this before, but like you got to do all this stuff. We do all this stuff. We look at all the ingredients and all that stuff, right? And then the last thing that we do is we measure the density of the object, right? Because certain brands of soda float and certain ones do not, right?
Indeed.
So the surprise is you want to take like X brand because it is the least dense, and if you dump it out of your canoe, it will float. And you can just grab it, right? So that's what we're trying to discover. That's what we're learning. That's what we've surprised because they don't know about density, right? So it's like they're all like, oh, that one because it's like diet, or like that one because it's like my favorite, or what your hypothesis is, whatever. And so the goal is then to discover about density, and then I drop it in a bucket of water and watch it kind of like, it doesn't like float, but it like floats like right under the surface because the densities are usually like 1.02, right? And so that will kind of suspend in the water, right? Anything much over that low, it goes to the bottom, like blah. So it's about that stuff, calculating, using the calculator, all that stuff. But I need 6 cans of soda because I have 0 cans of soda. Right. So I had some cans in my closet, but like, I don't know if they got too hot or whatever, but like they like popped open. Right. So like it was not good. Like, I guess they leaked or something happened. I don't really know, but like now I have 0 cans of soda. So I had to go find 6 individual cans of different kinds of soda. And let me tell you, are you aware that in my area, at least in 2022, it is impossible to buy individual 12-ounce cans of soda anywhere?
Really?
They're nowhere to be found. They used to have them in like the gas station, right? Yeah. Or like at Walmart in the thing, like
cooler area or whatever.
Yeah, like by the checkout, they have them in there.
Nah, so?
Really? All gone.
What?
All gone. The only store I didn't go to was Dollar General. Maybe they're in there, but no 12-ounce cans of soda anywhere to be found. I had to buy 16-ounce cans of soda.
Okay.
They sell those individually. Right? Which is weird to be in a can because, like, if you think about drinking soda, right? Like, if it's in a can, you're not gonna like keep it around for a long time. You just want to like drink it and be done, right? So like I understand the large can philosophy because it's like not resealable, right? We know that soda in a can tastes better because of how plastic works, and plastic aerates and lets things in, so it kind of like messes with the flavor of the soda. So the cans are better, but like I've never before in my life bought a 16-ounce can of soda.
That's such
never.
It's a weird size. What I know,
it is a weird size. Like I don't.
Very uncomfortable.
It's odd. And then I had to try to carry 6 of them to the thing at the gas station. I had to go to like some random gas station because I went to some other gas stations and Walmart has the 16-ounce cans, but they didn't have enough variety.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
They had like a Coke and like something else.
I'm trying to think, what size do the energy drinks come in?
Yeah, it's a similar size to like the Monster cans, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
it's the same size. It's like a weird number. It's like 400 and something mils, right? It's like 470 or something. It's weird, right? It's like, that's
and
odd.
Are they, I guess they'd have to be taller, right?
Yeah, so it's about the same circumference of a 12-ounce can. It's just taller. At least that's what it felt like when I was holding it. It might be slightly larger in circumference. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have a 12-ounce can to compare it to, clearly, but like, I feel similar in circumference and like diameter, right? But not the height is taller, right? So in theory, my experiment should still work because its density is just mass divided by volume.
Yeah.
So my mass will be greater, but my volume will also be greater. So my density should be the same, right? We'll see. It's fine. If it doesn't, whatever. It's all right. It's science. It's okay. We're learning something tomorrow. Density of 16-ounce soda cans. This will be new.
Yeah.
Will be something new that we learn about tomorrow. I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Just scratch out that thing at the top and.
Well, it's just a blank chart, right? It's just not like because volume is one of the things we have to measure. Okay. But it's easy because we just read it off the side. Boom. But it's about finding the information. Where is it? All that stuff. Yeah. So like, that was really weird experience. I was not expecting trying to find cans of soda to be so impossible.
Oh my gosh.
I did not know. I did not suspect this, right?
Who does? Well,
I mean, I don't know. I don't buy cans of soda, I guess. And apparently I'm the only person in the world who wants to buy like one 12-ounce can of soda. So like,
well, yeah, you want to buy one. Yeah, you want to do that one time a year.
Yeah. And like last year, I just went to the person that stocks the soda machines at school for like the club. Oh. And I was like, I'm going to just buy these straight from you from your closet.
Hey.
But this year, they're not doing it. And they're just like, no, we're somebody else is right. So like, Coke is doing it. We're not, blah, 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 like whatever nonsense. Man. But like, so like I couldn't go to them. And like,
and your suppliers are drying up
here. My pool like just dried up like real quick. I had no idea this was going to be such a problem. I did not anticipate the lack of 12-ounce cans. I had no idea that 16-ounce cans was apparently the standard industry size for single-serving cans now.
I wonder.
Right?
Usually things don't get bigger, but I guess it could be they're trying to. I don't know. Like what?
Yeah, I definitely couldn't find like. It would have been really hilarious if they would have been selling like the 8-ounce ones. That would have been great. Like that would have been fantastic. I would have bought all those just because it would have been
hilarious,
easier to carry, and just like funnier, right? Like
sure.
But yeah, I was like, man, why the 16-ounce can? It's a weird size, right? Because like
too tall. I don't.
Yeah, it's awkward, right? Like it's a weird size to carry, and like if you think about sizing previous sizing standards, right? Because who knows what they are now, right? You have the 12-ounce can, right? You had the 20-ounce bottle, and then you had the 1 liter bottle, right? And then sometimes they had that like 16.5 ounce bottle. Do you remember that thing? It was like a weird in between size there sometimes. I don't know. That was like a brief period of time. There was like a slightly smaller bottle.
Sure.
But like the 16-ounce can is a weird size to put between the 12 and the 20, right? Because it doesn't make sense to be there. It's like exactly in the middle. So that what purpose does that serve?
Yeah.
Right? There's no like motivation to buy 4 less ounces than a 20-ounce bottle, right? And I was not checking prices. Like the price for a 20-ounce bottle is not. It's like the same or less than the 16-ounce can. So why would you buy the 16-ounce can? Except for you need it for science experiments because there's no other cans available, right? So like economically, it makes no sense to exist. None. It's useless because 20 ounces are probably cheaper. Right? I don't know. 20 ounces used to be like $1 something. Inflation, they're probably like $1. I don't know. I didn't look. $1.50. Maybe not even that much.
Yeah.
$1.20 something, $1.30. These cans were $1.60 a piece.
Oh, that's insane.
So like
it must just be for people who like drinking out of a can versus bottle, right? Like,
but the can is not transportable, right? Once it's open, that's it. It's over for you. Yeah. Like you can't put it away. You just have to have an open can, and like that's not cool. Like you can't reseal it, so you can't take it places. You can't put it in a bag. You can't like put it in a pocket, right? You just have to like carry a can around. But that doesn't like why? Why would you do that? To me, there seems to be no purpose of a 16-ounce can. It's like a useless, in my opinion, size thing. You should just buy the bottle.
Buy the plastic bottle. Yeah.
Right? Like, it makes more sense. I mean, you can recycle both of them. So, like, doesn't matter. Right? Side note, did you see that Sprite bottles are now going to be clear?
I did. And I already thought, yeah, because you can't recycle the green, right?
Well, yeah, it doesn't recycle as well, right?
Yeah. So.
But yeah, they're changing it to clear, which is like cool, but it's also like really weird, right? Because it's like it's always green, but it's not now. Whoa. Anyway, so like you can recycle both containers easily, readily available recyclability for both. One of them is resealable. It has more drink for potentially less money. So the only reason that you would have a 16-ounce can is to get people to buy more 20-ounce bottles, right? That's the only reason.
It's the middle. It's the one you don't want, right? It's like only schmucks buy that one, right?
Yeah.
If you know, right? If you have, you're in the know, you buy the bottle. But if you're the guy who's like, oh, that'll save me money, but doesn't actually do any investigation, that's it. That's it.
Man. Yeah, the middle is the tricky thing, right? Which is it annoys me because I don't usually like drinks at like restaurants, like fast food restaurants, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the middle is the scam one. Because they, depending on what they're doing, right? They like put it like close to the large price. So your large feels like a value.
Oh yeah.
Right. But I don't want that much soda. Right. And so like I don't want that much. But like the medium is not a good value.
No.
Because it's only a few cents cheap. Like it's not like it stinks, but I don't want that much. I don't want like a giant cup of right. I don't need that in my life. Like I don't want
Apparently you do.
I do. the biggest problem with the fast food restaurants is I want the big thing of fries, but not the big thing of drink.
Right?
Right. That's what I want. I would really just like a small drink and a large fry. That's what I need.
This is so true.
I just want. I'm a person. All right. Here's a question about eating, like fast food specifically, but like other times, right? So I want to know about like when you're eating, when are you taking drinks? Right.
Okay.
And I asked this question because I do this thing where like I basically like eat all my food and then drink the drink like from a fast food restaurant, right? Like I'm not like sipping my drink in between bites, right? I might like eat all the French fries. Again, this is strictly fast food, right? I will eat all the French fries. I might take a drink, like a little one. And then I will eat all of the burger, and then I will just like drink the rest of the drink, right? Like all of it. Like I don't like take a bite, sip, take a bite, sip, take a bite, sip. I basically save the drink to the end. So like I don't want a big drink because that's like I just need it for like wash everything down, boom, done. Right? Like
No, I drink throughout because I get thirsty with like salty food or like mildly spicy food, and I'm like, I need to drink this. And
that's true. I'm just thinking about like your average like McDonald's or like Sonic, whatever. Like,
oh sure, yeah. No, I drink throughout. I'm a throughout drinker. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not. I drink like basically at the end. That's it.
Why would you, like you're?
I don't know. I don't know why I do that.
I don't know. I mean, it's fine. You do you. It's whatever. But also, like, what?
It probably has to do with the fact that I eat rather quickly. Right?
Don't have time.
I still like eat pretty fast. So like, I just like eat all the fries, boom, eat all the thing, and then like, drink the drink, and then I'm done. All right, let's go. Moving on. All right, that's just some interesting trivia I wanted to think about while here. So,
yeah.
But yes, long story long, I finally found soda in a can, but it was not the size I was anticipating. So we'll see tomorrow if that affects the results of my experiment. Like I said, it shouldn't. My hypothesis is no. I do wish I had an old data sheet from when I did this experiment with 12-ounce cans, because I would like to compare some of the numbers to see how much more like it weighs, right?
Sure.
And how that would be interesting. But I don't know if I still have one or not. I'll have to see. To dig through my file. But my back to school is going much better than another school in Berry County, Missouri.
Oh.
Perhaps you've heard on the news or read in the local, state, national, or yes, today, even international news about the goings-on in one Cassville, Missouri, has reinstated corporal punishment as part of their school disciplinary program.
Well.
I read an article from a British newspaper about this today and was like, oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
This is getting out of hand quickly.
So, what was the take? Okay, what was it? What was their take? 'Cause I'm very interested. Did they have? Was it unique to anything, or?
I don't really know. What like for me, it sort of seemingly came out of nowhere because I'm not like part of that school. I don't know anything about them really, but like from what I understand, it was like the guys knew, and I don't know if he like polled parents or whatever, but like somehow it came up in a school board meeting, and they're like, "Yeah, we should do that." And so there's a lot of people that are like, "Dude, what? Are you serious?" No.
And is this so? People are thinking, hearing this. This is the full on like paddle, like spanking stuff, right?
Yes.
Not with the hand, with the
No, paddling of the student.
Okay. At that.
Yes. Now I will say, it is you have to like sign off on it.
Oh, like as the parent.
Yeah. So it's not like carte blanche for everybody.
Sure.
It is sign offable. So that's better question mark.
Of course.
But yeah, so that's fun. I don't think they've got anything done really, because I think they've just been dealing with that for
taking a lot of phone calls and a lot of
oh my gosh, it's been, I can imagine. My friend's husband works there, so like I want to ask him like what in the world is going on.
Yeah, I don't know what makes someone that just seems so bizarre to do right now.
Yeah, right. Like that's another one of those instances where I look at things and I go, why would you do that? Why would you do something that like we stopped doing like years ago because we realized it's not good. It's like harmful in many cases. And so we stopped doing it. Why did you then go, yeah, we should do that again? Like what is this like regressive thought that goes through people's heads that are like, you know that stuff that we did like a long time ago that was like bad. Sure wish we could do that again. Like what?
Well,
what is this? Like, I don't understand like parents. I mean, okay, here's actually what happened. Okay, because for listeners not familiar with like old timey Ozarks people, all right, this is how it works, right? People go, I got paddled when I was a kid and I turned out fine, right? Even though, like, knowing them, they're not fine, right? Like, they're not. But they have this idea that, like, I'm perfectly fine, I'm normal, and I got paddled all the time when I was a kid. Like, so my kids should get paddled too, because they'll turn out fine like me. And you're going, wait.
Yeah,
hold on.
Everything started going downhill when we stopped doing it. So see, it all lines up.
Obviously, right. Society as a whole took a downturn when you stopped spanking the children. That's the answer. Of course. Of course. That clip's going to be taken out of context somewhere.
Yeah.
That'll be
That's what I'm leading with. I'm cutting that out and inserting it
all right.
this episode.
Hopefully my tone is indicative of what I was thinking. But like, yeah, it's like, it seems very odd, right? And I mean, that's how people think, right? I know it is, because I've talked to people that think that way. And like, you know, if education is all about like all they talk about all the time is like research this and research that and blah 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 blah, and all the research says don't spank the children, and they're like, nah, let's do it. Like what, dude? What?
Well,
why? Why would you do that? Ah.
Yeah. I know they say, okay, the parents have to sign off on it and there has to be agreed upon things, but I think just even having that as an option for some students and not others, like that does, I don't think that sets students up for like, how do you have consistency of disciplinary action between them? If you're not going to, like, it's one of those things like, if you're going to do it, just do it. Like, right. Like, I don't like, I don't know. Like, just, it doesn't make sense on how you're going to be consistent and following through with everybody and keeping.
It creates a really bizarre, like, artificial system. Boundary. Yeah. Caste system, right? Of like the paddleable and the unpaddleable, right? Like, you know, that's a weird, that's a weird thing to institute. Just like, what? So I don't know, man. Like I'd ask my friend tomorrow because her kids go there. I'll be like, yo, are your kids getting paddled or what? Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't
Yeah.
see what she throws at. That's what I'm
Well, yeah. Well, just it's gonna set some weird conversations with students, like in the classroom and like at lunch and
at lunch.
everything.
I mean, all the kids. All right. So what you've also done is created a bullying environment
Yeah.
because the people that are getting spanked are going to be like picked on by all the kids who aren't getting spanked.
Yeah.
And because they're going to say stuff like, your parents don't love you because they let you get spanked to school, right? And then that kid's going to get mad and he's probably going to punch him and then he's going to get spanked again, right? Like, you see, like, it's going to.
Nothing helpful.
It's not.
Again, that's what I say. If you're going to do it, just like all in. Everybody gets involved. Everyone gets a paddle. Woohoo.
Yeah. Or, just like keep not doing it. That'd probably be fine too.
Look.
Like, that's ridiculous. I couldn't believe oh man, it's just wild. Like,
so has that sparked a lot of conversations amongst your board members? And
I hope not, because
they've been getting really interested.
If that happens, I'm just gonna give all the news reporters, all the board members' phone numbers. Like, here you go, guys. Here's their email. Please contact this person.
You know what? I'm just gonna put this phone number on this bench, and you're gonna
when KY3 rolls up and tries to interview me, I'm just gonna hand him a card with all their. Here you go. These are the people you need to talk to. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely wild. Like,
I'm interested to see how quickly they walk that back.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because, like, it's.
Do you not think they will?
I don't know, right? Like, if there's one stubborn group of people, it's like old dudes, right?
Sure.
So, like, there's some stubborn people. So they're like, I don't see nothing wrong. It's fine. So they might eventually, they get enough backlash from the community and stuff. We'll see if they do or not. So I'm interested to see, like, because I've been reading some stuff about, like, a lot of the parents in Castle are like, dude, what? No.
Oh.
So I'd be
supported.
Yeah, like, a lot of the parents are like, no.
Cool.
And so I want to know, like, where this, like, idea come from. Did you talk to, like, one dude? Right? Like, somebody's grandpa? Is that who you talked to? And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll just listen to them. Because they're up on current information. We'll just speak to that person. And
no, I'm sure what happened. What had happened was, they have had this kind of like stuck in their craw for a while now, and finally are in a position where they can implement.
That could be it too, right?
Like,
been stewing on it for a while.
They're one thing for the past 25 years, and finally, unleash. I don't want to use that word. Never mind.
Yeah, sure. That's a bad. Yeah. In this context, that's a bad phrase. No.
I take it all back. No.
Oh man, yeah. We've just been talking about that amongst ourselves at school.
I can imagine why.
Making fun of them, being like, "What the heck?" So yeah, that's just my goings on. Schools in my county are getting international press for their decisions.
Good stuff. Whatever. Build some character.
Dang, man, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's not good.
No.
That's what, like,
very much on
the like we joke, right? Like, a joke among teachers is like, the one thing you don't want is for, like, the news to be there.
Right.
Because the news never comes when you do something cool.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing good happens when the news shows up at your work if you're a teacher. Right. Even though they should show up if you're doing something cool. They don't.
Yeah, why would
so like, we always joke like, well, yeah, I don't call the news. And now these people got like every news outlet in the world like calling news. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, big oof. Big like, ugh.
Oh my gosh. It'll be really interesting to see at the end of the year, if they haven't walked this back, how many openings they have for teaching positions.
Oh, yeah, that will be. Oh, but they'll.
Or like admin, that's like no, like blah, like
they'll spin it. They'll spin it. They'll say something like cleaning out the riffraff from the school.
Well, they always do that, but like that's why, right? When you look at schools and like all of a sudden there's like 50 billion openings, you go, yeah,
you go, what?
That's not good.
What happened? Who?
And then later on, like this year, like there was another school nearby that like there was a lot of openings, right? And then like one of the people that used to work there now works with it at our school, and like they basically just confirmed some things that like I suspected or that I like heard about, right? Like, and they're like, yeah, no, it's not good. Like,
oh, yeah. It's when you see the signs and you're like, you kind of your antenna go up and you're like, well, just gonna sit here for a minute, and then you start getting some of that news. I'm sure that's hard.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, yeah, right. Yeah, it's very suspicious when like 15 openings. Like, whoa, okay, that's more than normal, right? Like,
that's not good.
Yeah, it's got bad news. So, yeah, gotta go. Well, yeah, that's been my week. Dealing with random children, not finding soda, and glad I don't work there. That's what
sounds like. Yeah, lots to be thankful.
What have you been up to? What do you got going on this week?
My week did not start off well. I was in Springfield doing interviews because we have a team member who is having a chance to buy a dream business for himself. So he's being able to go into that. We're very excited for where he is headed. We are needing to have somebody else take over his time slots and do that stuff. So we're in the hiring phase again. And I did
your favorite phase, I've heard.
It's good, right? And so obviously I'm learning. It's literally never stops, which is fine. Whatever. I was supposed to have 4 set up back to back, and ended up not, which is fine. And one person called in and said they were sick, so we're like, yeah, please stay away. We'll just do a Zoom. And so I did 3, and they just got like progressively worse each time.
Oh no!
Like, and it's really hard. It's really hard. I enjoy it because I enjoy talking with people, and I enjoy getting to learn about people and see kind of like what they want to do in their life and everything. So it's kind of neat to be like, okay, what are you looking for? How can where do we fit in, if at all? And it just kind of fell apart. And then I
sadness.
Yeah. And it kind of ties into a little bit of the second part of this conversation here. And on my way back, I hit that dog, and that was brutal. Brutal.
Was it a large dog?
Yeah, it was a lab. Big old lab. At 70 miles an hour, my neck hurts. I'll say that.
Oh my gosh.
No airbags deployed, but it was enough of a jolt when you just hit something so solid all of a sudden that I woke up at midnight last night with active pain in my face and my neck because I had so tensed up on the day before, and then it finally caught up with me, and my neck is still pretty sore. And I hit. God. Yeah, he ran out. I was in the right lane, cruising wide open, and he just bolted out in front of me and smacked like square, like dead center straight into my radiator. And I at first hit him, And it's a bizarre feeling of, because I was still driving because I have all of the forward momentum. So I'm going. And I look up in my rearview mirror. I drug him for a little bit. It's not fun.
No.
And I'm driving, and then I'm in shock, and I'm just like, whoo, ha, ugh. And I'm like, well, the car's still like going, and then I'm like, I need to pull over. Like, it took me a few seconds to be like, get to the side of the road,
that's a lot of
Collin.
It's a lot of process, right? Like,
yeah,
that's a.
And so, because at first the first part of my brain was like, well, I guess I'm okay. I guess I'll keep going, and then it was like, no, pull over.
Yeah. You're definitely not okay. Stop thing, man. Like,
and got pulled over, and I came around, and the plastic bumpers I love them because they are easily replaced. They absorb a lot of damage, but they also conceal a lot because after they've done flexed, and like my bumper flexed pretty much back into place, like it didn't even pop out. And so at first I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then I actually listen to the engine, and it's making a really bad ticking noise. And then I get underneath and I look, and
is it hissing at you?
Fluid is just pouring out from my radiator. And then that's whenever I see that my radiator has a large dog shaped indentation across the entire port of the radiator. It's got that big bar that sits at the bottom that's supposed to prevent things from denting it is like completely blown up. In. And then I'm like, okay.
It's not gone well.
I'm here. And so I pulled over. I moved a little bit more further over because I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I'm kind of on this weird curve. And I had big storms that were coming in. So
it's true.
Just made some phone calls. And got towed in, and I think everything's going to be okay. We're still waiting to see the assessment of the car for how much it's going to be versus the cost of the car and all this stuff. And so it's that part is kind of on pause.
Anything other than the radiator, like if it messed up anything.
And then I'm sitting here going, it's the hybrid, so I don't know like where, like how the hybrid system is stitched together, or more importantly, where that occurs. But also, I did drag the dog for a little bit, for a lot. So like, what did it do to the underside of the car?
Yeah, that's true.
This is where I'm just like, oh gosh, like there's just so many things.
Probably less than the initial impact, I would imagine.
Hopefully. But who knows? Like, so
yeah, true. Like,
it's just like I'm not even going to try and guess because So then it's all trying to figure out, like, okay, like what do we want done? And we have to wait for numbers to come back and for like the assessment and value of car and anything like that. Yeah. And on the ride in, I was an hour and 22 minutes away from home. And I called my insurance agent, and they were like, "Oh yeah, call these people." And I was like, "Sweet." I called them, and then I was like, "Oh, I have to wait an hour and probably 35 minutes for them to get here, and then I have to drive that back with them. I'm going to be here for 4. I'm not going to get home for 4 hours." Oh well. Company comes in and guy comes in and gets it all. They've got these Bluetooth controllers now. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah. And his entire truck is controlled by a little Bluetooth controller that he wears around his neck.
Whoa.
Yes. What? And what's really cool is that when he pushes a button on it, the standard levers that are at the truck move too.
Oh.
So when he lowers the bed, you first see the lever go up, and then the bed moves, and you're like, Oh my
That's
gosh.
great. I mean, yeah, it's still hydraulic probably, so that makes sense. That's
all
wild,
hydraulic.
man.
So-
Like, holy cow.
Yeah. So I was like, this is amazing. And so he stepped out. He has this massive reflective jacket on, and he's like, for your safety, please go sit in the truck. I'll be in there in just a moment and we'll get you home. I was like, okay. So I get in there and I'm like, my first thought is Noah is going to be so jealous.
That's true.
I was like, oh. So I was trying to take pictures and stuff so I could show him the process later. And we get in and we start going. And he's like, it took no time at all. Like I in my brain, like the towing process of getting the hook and all that stuff like that, the hook rate, like I just feel like that is used to take a long time. This took no time. Like the car was up and going and like,
well, yeah, now the ones with the like the flat bed on it,
yeah,
right? They just like tilt the bed down, drive up to the thing, and just like, all right, done. Like,
yeah,
whoa, it like takes longer to like bolt down, like strap down the car, like the back axle to the bed so it doesn't like wiggle. Like that's the
yes, exactly. And so we get in and we start going. And at first I'm a little like, I don't know what I'm going to talk to this man about. Because what do I do here? And so I'm just like,
so listeners, Colin's answer was interview time, suckers. That's what it's time for.
I do these for a living, kind of. So let's do this.
Puts on his like just out of his like bag, like whips out like his reporter hat with like the press, like the press thing, right, from like the comic books, and like top spiral notebook. Like, so tell me about towing trucks. Blam.
So I'm trying to figure, because I have some general idea. I have seen this gentleman around town in the truck before, but I don't know if he works for them, if he owns the company. So I just say like, how long have you been doing this? And he's like, oh, well, my dad used to own a car lot, and as a side business, he did this. And since like 1998, I've been doing this as like a part-time job on the weekends. My buddies and I would go out and use my dad's old tow truck, and we'd make $700-800 on a weekend. And that was our job. And he went to a business school and was like, well, I'll just do this because I want to do that. And so what was fascinating was how he thinks about it. I was like, so like, tell me, in my mind, I told him, I said, in my mind, the tow truck industry kind of has some, I don't know, misconceptions or biases or assumptions that people have about that. And he started laughing and he said, yeah, tell me about it. And I said,
no, you tell me about it.
I did. Well, what I said was, I said, what do you do about those? He said, well, I believe that there's so much of a gap between what people are currently experiencing versus what's possible. It's basically the sky's the limit for what I can do in my company. And that every little thing that I add on, nobody expects for us to do. And so one of the things that he does is he said the comment of like professionalism costs. And basically his thinking is to be a professional, to act professionally, and to do things in a professional manner that costs money, which means I have to raise prices. And he was talking about the delta between his prices and other prices in like the county. And I was like, goodness. And he said, yeah, a lot of people haven't. So I also picked up some lingo. So a hook rate is what they call for. This is the tow truck fun. And of like, he said, some of these guys haven't changed their hook rates since the 90s. They're still towing cars for like $35. And he was like, I am not $35. And I was like, good for you. And he was like, thanks. We want to give people a better experience, and I can only do that if we charge more. And so he like refreshes all of his and his staff's uniforms regularly. He makes sure that they all have like good belts so that you don't see, your lower back and butt crack on the side of the road. Because he's like, people expect that. When they don't, it's a nice surprise.
The best kind of surprise.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And things like making sure that the truck cabs are detailed on a regular basis, so that it's a pleasant place to be in. Making sure that his crew all have like stay up with hygiene and are, and he's like, I understand people's lives are kind of hectic and stuff, but like show up to work looking presentable. And because I don't want anybody to be sitting in the passenger seat uncomfortable with me or one of my staff. That's a really bad experience, especially if you're in there for 2 hours or 3 hours driving with them. Like, right? Like that's
true.
Nobody should be uncomfortable or unsure of what's happening. And he talked about the apps that they use for their booking. And then he went down this amazing discussion of all of the motoring clubs, right? So like AAA is really a big one. I had this whole thing blew my mind. So AAA, right? You buy that and they give you a guarantee that you will get access to a tow truck if needed, right? I always thought this is amazing. I had no idea of what this actually does to the tow truck industry, because the tow trucks have to negotiate a rate with AAA. And usually AAA comes in and says, no, this is our rate. You want access to our network. That's what we'll pay you for it. And they agree to all of these terms of service of like how far their radius will be to get access to this, what their rates will be, their call time, their response time, all this stuff. And so he was giving away some of his rides for up to 50% off or 60% off sometimes. But he was like, my phone was ringing nonstop. So
True.
I felt
trade-off.
busy, but I was making no money. I was losing so much. And it really came to a head when the gas prices started going up several months ago.
Yeah.
Because he used to pay $1,500 a week. Yeah. When gas was at its peak, it was over $7,000 a week.
Holy cow.
A week. He runs 4 trucks. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he was like, no, that's what my costs went to for gas. And I was like, and he said, I was losing so much money following these car clubs that I just had to, he just basically came to them and was like, this is your 2-week notice that I am pulling out of this. And they tried to convince him, and he was also having to invoice them. And he said they would do nothing but dispute every single invoice he sent them. Every single one. They never didn't dispute an invoice, hoping that he would just give up.
So they're like an insurance company.
Yes.
Right? That's what they are.
They are.
Like,
they are.
You didn't need that. Like,
no.
Yes, it did. What are you talking about?
Well, and he was like, everything we do is geolocated. Like the moment he said, the moment you called me, I knew your exact GPS location. And
that's handy from way different than back in the day, right?
Exactly.
When it's like, yo, so it seemed to be on mile marker 81 and going towards so and so. Like, all right, I'll try to find you. Like, God,
flash your lights every now and then, right? Like kind of thing. You're like, oh,
yeah, no, man.
So, and he was like, I knew from my desk, like the apps we use tell us exactly what it is. I submit all those reports, and they do nothing but dispute. And they would be 6-7 months late paying on things. And so he finally was like, look, I need to run my business. I am losing money here. I can't give my staff the quality of life that they need. And so we're cutting you out. He said, so I don't service any car club. And he said, I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. And he said, the call volumes are down, but I can actually, we can actually operate the way we want to operate. And so I was seeing how it's sold as so beneficial. And it kind of reminded me of like the Grubhub and the DoorDash and all that stuff, and the impact that they actually make on the restaurants, of how they make no money on any of that.
Yeah.
And how it's still things like that. So it was a very fascinating, and he's reading, he's just knows like he's like, I can make such a big difference here, and I don't want to stop. And he's so worried about complacency in business and helping other people. It was a really good conversation. So afterwards I was like, do you want to go to coffee? And we like swapped book recommendations and stuff. I was like, what are you reading? And he was like, gave me this like 3 or 4 things, and I was like, oh, you should read this. It was
oh my goodness.
Oh, it was great. And he was like trying to figure out like talking about what he wants out of his business, and why he's still working in it even though he's got all this staff and stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of like he's trying to figure out his role as his company has grown. He's been doing it full time for 6 years, and he's still trying to figure out like what his role is as he's brought on more people and more trucks and stuff. And
I see why you were so interested in this conversation. This sounds vaguely familiar. I've heard some of this before. Somewhere. I don't remember where exactly, but
I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
It's fairly coincidental, obviously.
Purely. So it was just very, I was not expecting this conversation, and people just, you need to talk to people more. That's what I learned. Just like, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it was a lot to take in while I was still like processing, having like
trauma, right? Like
it was a good distraction from that, so I wasn't just sitting there stewing about like, oh my gosh, like we're down a car. I'm going to be doing in Springfield nonstop for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to be doing this. The kids are starting school. Like I had a lot spinning through my head, and then I was able to kind of deflect that for at least another hour.
Well, that's good. At least that's help with that trauma recovery slightly, right? Like that's good news.
Well, and it just kind of reinforced the importance. And as we were talking, he was like, because he deals with his business is nothing but logistics, right? Of like cost.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like yeah,
that's all he does. And when I first told him what we did, he was kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then I talked about how we operated. He was like, oh, there's a lot of overlap between what you and I do.
Wait a minute.
Like I was like, I know. I don't. I too drive for a living some days. Right? And it was just fascinating for him to be like, he's like, I don't know how you do that. He's like, we were talking about like what we charge and all this stuff. And he's like, you're not charging enough. That's insane. But I can't believe that. Like, you have so much liability on your head every time you go to somebody's house. He said, I just have to deal with someone's car, and it's usually already wrecked. So what am I supposed to?
Yeah, like it's already broken. So like whatever.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Scratch it? Oh no!
Yeah, that's kind of what he said. He was like, it's like, woo, I'm so sorry. Like it's a heap of broken metal and glass shards. A little scratch on the way up is not gonna. But that was
not gonna be a problem.
He was talking about of like he invested in this 8-point harness system for every car he puts on his truck bed. Because I guess they used to just hook the front springs and the back springs and like tie them forward and backward and kind of anchor the car in place.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's fine until you have to stop suddenly, or you have to do an evasive maneuver, or truck gets damaged. Because then what that does,
very top heavy, right? Yeah, that's a very high center of gravity.
Well, and what it does is it torques the car chassis that's on the bed. Because
that's true.
The car itself can't flex. And so the harness that he invested in just basically ties down the tires. And then he's like,
so the suspension still works.
Yes, that's what he said. And then or as he said, the suspension do what the suspension do. I was like,
of course he said that. That makes sense.
I was like, oh, that is amazing. He said, it takes a couple minutes extra to put on, but in the long run, like he said, I can afford that extra time to secure people's car in a better way because my prices aren't set so that I'm always looking at my clock going, gotta get to the next one.
Yeah. It's not volume, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. He can spend an extra 5 minutes to make sure that your car arrives actually in a decent shape.
Well, yeah.
Than just heaving it on. And so yeah, and just all the little details that he thinks about and encourages his team to think about was very encouraging. And I'm like, yeah, like that's what people want. But I was like, how do you? I didn't get to this part of just like, how do you convince people that it's worth it, right? Like that, because what you want is somebody to just. Sometimes some people all they want is to just show up. But I think for him, it's they don't know what they don't know. And they're so used to something for so long that when
that's true,
truck pulls up, they have an expectation. And then literally the moment you step in the truck, it's like, oh, it doesn't smell like cigarettes.
Yeah. There's not chew everywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's not filthy. Huh.
Yeah.
And he's got like a nice holder, like a nice charging spot for your phone. And he's got like this nice thing. And like, oh, there's a place for my bag. And I can, like this is. And like he purposefully invested in extended cab trucks. He was like, it's a little daunting. I have 4. He said, technically I have 5 mortgages worth of expenses because 4 of those are my trucks. Like we're talking.
Yeah.
He has a heavy wrecker and it's like almost $400,000.
Oh yeah, those things are massive. Though.
But in order for him to be on, what is it? Police rotation, he had to have access to one. So
for large scale
stuff. And he was like, I want those. Those are good for us. So he went for it. But he was like, I've got all of this money in here, and he invested in these extended cab trucks. Why? He said
because it's like a family, right?
Family. Like, exactly. Yeah.
You have more than one person driving, like
with luggage. Exactly. Or like, with bags that they want out. And he's like,
just like your work bag or like your backpack or like, whatever. Because like some of the last time I was in a tow truck, it was one of those ones that was like the bench seat, like the flat nose bench seat. That was it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it was very tight quarters in there. Like when our car broke down in Arizona, that's what drove us to the thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like me and Susan and this dude. And it was kind of like crammed in there. Like we just had to keep our bags in the car, right? Like on the back because like until we got to the place because it was a whole like we couldn't. It was so crammed in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was like, I could have the big truck and then the little truck, but if both trucks are out, like that's not fair. And so he was like, well, we got to have 2 big trucks. And it's like a lot to run, but
turned into 4 big trucks.
Well, no, he was telling me about he has 3 of them which were like what I was in. The 4th one is
is that the big one?
Sorry. So he's got 2 of the big ones. He's got the big wrecker, and then he's got the 4th one, which looks like one of the standard tow trucks of yore, where it's got the big T crossbar where they can up, and they can grab. It's also 4-wheel drive full time, and so
interesting.
He'll take it and like be able to drive through fields and like through the woods and over the field and over the hills to go.
So it's like the off-road. I mean, you need that from Missouri, right? Like you need to like.
This is exactly what he was like. He's like, I've got to go do like expeditions sometimes, and it's also what they take to. He won the contract to be the wrecker for several of the racetracks in the area.
Oh, okay. There you go. That solves it right there. He's got to drive out on that dirt and just rip it out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and get it back as fast to the pits as possible.
That makes sense.
So that's what they use. And I was like, but he's like, everything he does is like it's a very intentional purpose of like, because he thinks through of like, what possibilities does this give me? Or maybe he really thinks through and like seeks out a couple opportunities and goes, okay, here's the one thing that'll solve that.
Well, yeah, or like nobody else is doing this, so I need this thing so that I can do that, right? Like that's because I wouldn't have thought about like, all-terrain wrecking, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not, and again, that's what you get from being in the business for that long amount of time, right? His biggest asset to his business is his experience and the longevity with which he has worked in it, right? Because he's going to be able to think of these things and be like, yo, we've never done this. So I should do it, right? Like that's what he knows the gaps, like he knows the ins and outs, kind of what's going on. So he can think about like, because I definitely would not have thought about like off-road wrecking, right? Like big old truck just to get out there and some dude's out camping and like his, axle broke, right? Because that's the thing that happens. Stuck in field, help. Yeah, my tow truck, because like nobody's else tow truck can go get that, right?
Yep.
But his can.
Only one to show up.
Yeah.
And then to take it the next step and go, what else can I do with this? And be like, oh, this is a really good fit for racetracks because it's smaller, right, than his big one, but it's also can lift those cars easily, and it's fast and it's nimble and it can weave around. So he was like, oh, this is also a great fit for my wrecking truck that I'm paying for, so it can pay its bills faster.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like, okay, like that's pretty cool. And then he was telling me about again, I had an hour and a half to talk to Dylan about what happens when people don't claim their cars. And he said for the longest time he would just, because what happens is people wreck a car, they might not be from the area, or they are in the area, but they don't know where they're going to take it. What do they say? Take it to your yard, right? Take it to the tow yard, and I'll figure it out. This is what they, and then they don't.
They just realize, oh, my car is worth X. My repair bill is going to be Y. I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah. We're not gonna worry about fixing it.
No. And so at first he's like, he said for 2 years when I first started, I was not going to get into the resale of cars business. So he just kept renting and leasing more and more land around him to accommodate the cars. And expecting that people would start coming. And he was like, but they don't. He said, I got to the point where I was paying so much in leased land to store cars for people for free
that didn't want them, and you don't want them. So
we got to do something with this.
Liquidate.
But here's the thing, like he walked me through the legal process.
I was gonna say, what does that legal process look like of an unclaimed car with no owner? Technically, I mean, technically has an owner
or title,
right? Or title, right? So they're all salvaged. Technically.
So what he does is, I said, so how long do you have to hold the car? And he said 10 days.
Oh wow, really? That short?
Yeah. So what he does is he gives them legal notice after 5 days. And it's like, hey, here we go. And then at 10 days, he sends another one. And I think he ends up holding it for like 2 weeks or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
And then
you should just put that on the contract of when he's towing your car. Like, yo, if you leave this at my place, it's gone. No.
So then he has to go through the process of taking ownership of it. And it's like, what did he say? He said each car, and it depends on if it's an in-state or out-of-state car, but it's something on the average of like 35 pages for each car that he has to fill out. Then he has to wait. That's just to claim it. And then he has to go through filing for the title for each one. And so every 2 weeks, he has to go to Jeff City, and he spends 9 hours at the DMV there. And you're like,
oh my gosh.
And you're like, 9? And he waits in line before they open so that he can make sure he's there first. And then he just sits there with the DMV people, and title after title with all of the paperwork for each car goes.
Do you think he has to call ahead? Like, yo, I'm coming down with 57 titles. You imagine how grumpy those people would be if that's a surprise? Like,
Yes.
you got what?
I'm 100% sure that he does, just knowing him.
It's like, all right, we're going to go to the back office because we're not doing this in the front here with all these people.
And I'm sure they probably have
a center for that, right? I imagine there's like a
separate line.
Yeah.
Right? At the
so.
headquarters, the DMV headquarters. Like, I'm sure they have. So anyway, so he was just like, yeah, I go down there. I spend a 9-hour day getting these retitled.
Gross.
Then he has to go and find a buyer for them. And sometimes he is the buyer, right? So sometimes he will go, oh, and that's what he said. He said, my wife and I, we only drive Honda Accord. And I was like, well, that's funny because you're driving one. He said, yeah, it looks pretty nice. And I was expecting him to start. He didn't. That's fine. He was like, yeah. And so we just, he said, I'll buy a car for $3,000. I'll pour $6,000 into it, and then we'll drive it for a year, and I'll flip it and it'll sell for 12. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, that's what salvage titles can do. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he has to then find them. And so this process takes months.
Oh yeah.
Months.
This is not a short-term situation.
For cars, right? And it just it shocked me that there was enough people in our area that would just be like, never mind. And he said some people, they forget about it. Other people know darn well where their car is, and they don't want a thing to do with it.
How do you forget about it? That's crazy. Like, yeah. I'm just so poor that this is like a shocking, right? Like, my goodness, how in the world? Like to think about a car as being something like disposable, right? Like that's insanity. Like, what on earth?
Yes, this is something that I was just blown away by. But he's like, sometimes people aren't maybe so on the up and up, and they don't want to feel like they're dealing with an authority who may turn them into somebody who, and he was like, he said, I'm not. Sure, law officers and things like that are involved sometimes, but he's like, I just want you to take your car away. Like,
take your car from one place to another, man. Like,
yeah. And to hear him say, like, I don't actually want to be in the business of retitling cars, but he's realized that it's
just like a weird like side thing that like happens, like
yeah, one that he does begrudgingly because otherwise he knows it will just the cars will consume his life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like scrapyard, just dump them in there, sell people hubcaps, right? Like, I don't. Yeah, that is wild.
So
I can't believe somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna leave my car over there."
Right.
Whatever.
Like, who just walks away from that? But then again, it's like, I don't know.
Even if you don't want your car, right? You can like at least sell it for scrap weight. Like, it's not that much money, but like you're getting something out of it to put towards something else, right? You're not just like leaving it in a field somewhere. Like, that's weird. Like, you could tell the dude, like, yo, take it to the scrapyard, get you like $800, and then be done, right? Like,
there you've benefited, right? Like, exactly. Like, it just, anyway. So it just very illuminating to both the behavior of people in general and and for stuff that he has to put up with. And then the other thing is he has the contract. So apparently, police don't typically run their own tow trucks. I'm sure some larger cities do, but most don't.
Yeah, most smaller ones don't.
They subcontract out to towing companies in the area, and they go on a rotation of what you have to, so that no one person just
does all of them,
of it, because that would just consume them. And he says when he's on rotation, it's like kind of the worst thing ever because people blame him for like prices and stuff. But it's what like he's like, we agree to all, like, we sign a document. Everybody signs a document with the police force that says this is what we will charge for our hook rate, and everybody's the same, right?
Yeah.
and yet he gets chewed up one side down the other when he was like, yeah, I towed your car and it's $125, and that's what it is. And people just, he has to sit there and You're the up one side, down the other with everything. And he's like, yeah, the other people, they would have charged you the exact same because we're all in the same contract.
Yeah. Like, this is at my rate. This is what the police department says I have to charge you.
Exactly. So
that's what you should look at him like. If I was doing this, I'd charge you double.
Whoa, no, that's what he tells people sometimes. Because he'll be like, look, I'm not even going to charge you my storage fee per day.
Yeah.
That one I have control over. So like, look, just come pay me the money and you get it. And he's like, I'm not trying to be extortionary here. I'm actually trying to help them, but I'm legally required to collect the payment. Like, that's like a part of this thing that we've signed. And he's like,
yeah.
So it's very
yeah, that's messy. That's good.
Yeah, it was like, nothing you.
Yeah.
So lots of life lessons taken from that and things learned. And so that got me through Monday, and then been busy. So drove some cars today.
oh boy.
Well, we just kind of need to be ready to pull the trigger ASAP in case.
Yeah, I think so. Like, plus you've been looking anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what I was like.
So once you just leave your car with this dude and don't come back and get it. And
exactly.
I'm just gonna
wait. No. But no, I was like, well, we should probably just do this in a bit more earnestly, because if we get it fixed, right, like it will never quite be the same. And then we will have the insurance money to have like made it better. And now it's worth more as long as it doesn't have a salvage title, which I hope it doesn't. But
yeah.
Like, it'll be repaired and now we're good. And that'll be good, and then we can do the money from the car sale towards something else. And then it's like, but then do we take the money from the insurance towards the car and then just sell the car as is, or junk it or whatever?
Oh, right, yeah. It depends on how much the repair cost would be, right?
Yes.
Like that's the magic number there.
Yes.
Of like,
I think in Missouri it's 70%, 60 or 70%. If the repairs are 60 or 70% of the car's current value, of the value before it was wrecked, it's total.
Yeah. That sounds right.
And I would be like, my car wasn't worth a whole lot going into this.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just have to see what it washes out to.
Yeah.
And see how that goes. So that'll be interesting. Or something.
Or something. Yeah. We'll see. Because I kind of want to just have like a couple lined out so that whatever we can do. Because the last thing I want to do is wait for too long.
Yeah, true.
And then, as we do. No.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like,
Definitely do. Especially next week. Next week, my staff member is leaving, which means I am doing all the morning and afternoon visits in Springfield Monday through Friday. Starting next week. So
yeah, so 100% then. That's what it.
So I will say that the rental car that I have scheduled will be getting lots of miles on it, and they'll be quite shocked.
It's just how rental cars work sometimes. It's fine. No worries.
As we all know, the fastest car in the world is
a rental car. That's true. That is very true. I've heard that.
I have scientifically proven. Ish.
Oh dear.
It's a higher car. There, that's for our intro.
Oh yeah, that's true. It makes it official. There you go.
What if I can find that clip?
Probably. Somewhere. It's out there.
Yep, there it is.
All right.
First hit.
Boom. Victory.
Insert that 53-second clip.
All right. Yes.
And done.
Getting fancy. Look at you.
Just all on the fly. Anyway.
Fancy schmancy.
So that's that.
Well, it's a very eventful day for just one day. So You better take it easy the rest of the week. You got all your excitement and adventure out of the way on Monday, so you better downhill slide it for a little bit. Calm down. Too much fun you got going on.
We're gonna relax. We're also, unfortunately, we're going into an extremely busy time of business with Labor Day weekend.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forget about Labor Day existing like a lot.
Fair enough.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
My staff and I, this weekend is going to be, I'm not going to say brutal, but it's going to be real tough. It's got to the point where one person on the weekend was not enough to cover everything. So I'm having to loop in a second person in each location to take care of it.
No.
Yeah, that's when you know things are real. Whenever you're like, because it's like, I have 5 houses to care for, which means you immediately have 15 visits. And because you come over 3 times a day. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's too much. Do for too long. So, fine.
Yeah. I forgot about Labor Day. That's next Monday, right?
Yeah.
That means I don't have school on Monday. Hey, look at there. Adjust plans accordingly. All right, there we go.
select all.
Yeah, back that up a little bit.
Drag and drop.
I gotta fix my planner. I think I forgot to take into account that Labor Day was Monday, so I gotta go fix that tomorrow.
Okay. Well, sounds like you have some homework tonight. So
my plans at school, so that doesn't help me anyway. I can't do it.
Never mind.
On my desk, we know. So.
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell, we'll end there.
All right.
Call it a night.
Indeed.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.